failure comes in many ways, like for me, the most prevalent have been my failure to maintain habits, like me saying I will wake up at 6:30 a.m. every day. That, like, I kind of mess up often, I'm not gonna lie. There's failure to achieve your goals, it's like a lot of the time something I've said is I'm going to make X amount this month. Like I say, I'm gonna make $10,000 this month. It doesn't happen. And there's failures to like keep promises to yourself. Like I will change this, I'll change that. Like a lot of the time, like, you're gonna fail. I made promises to myself about changing many things, just improving, locking in on certain things. Like I fail too. It's pretty often. I mean, not too often, but it's like it's not something to be impressed about, even when I am failing. Like, at one little thing I tell myself I'm gonna change each month or each week. But yeah, failure, it happens all the time, we're not human if we're not failing. Especially with habits, it's like very hard to create and maintain like certain habits because they might be harder for you than other habits. And it's like on a case by case basis, like for me, a habit that I sometimes struggle with, especially in the winter here in Toronto, is just waking up on time. Like I'll go for a couple days where I wake up on time, like 6:37, and then I'll just sleep until 9 randomly, just out of nowhere. But there's systems I put in place. Like recently, I put my alarm across like the other side of my room, and then I just, you know, went, walked over, turned it off, and then left my room right away. Went to like the washroom, brushed my teeth, or got a drink of water, and that really wakes me up. So it works a lot. And yeah, like there's, everyone has their own things. Just, make sure that you recognize that failure does happen, but always do your best to come back from it. Like, if you're not failing, you're not trying, right? Like, there's people who are just gonna not care that they wake up late. If you took that first step and you care that you wake up late, then you're already doing better off than a lot of people just because you care and you're putting in the effort to actually try and fix it. So, if you're currently falling short of your goals or your habits, whatever, just, make sure you realize that it might be the best thing for you to go through right now. Like, for me, I know that struggling with waking up is just going to lead to a turning point where I figure out the system that works for me and I'm going to be able to wake up consistently again. I did in the summer. It was like 5:30 a.m. Throughout the whole summer. Me and my buddy went to the gym in the morning, like 6 a.m. right away. That was super fun. I can't wait to do that again. But yeah, just like everyone says, like, hitting rock bottom was the best thing that ever happened to them. You know, failure is such a great thing for you too, and that's pretty much what hitting rock bottom is, just to a smaller degree. So, there's failures in your habits, goals, or promises. They're a key driver in your future success. Like, anyone that's rich or successful or a great athlete, they failed. So just keep trying, embrace the failure. And yeah, I used to, and I still do, I set very ambitious goals for myself and I try to achieve them in short amounts of time. And a lot of the time, you just got to realize that's not going to work, but it's really good, right? Like, most of the time, they're not going to work out. It's going to suck, but it's only going to drive you to work harder. And since I convinced myself that I'd achieve, like, let's say my very ambitious goal is I want to make $10,000 by the end of this month, or so like 20,000, something like that, right? Like, if I don't achieve that by the end of this month, yes, it sucks. It's horrible. Like, I'm really mad at myself when I fall short of my goals. But I know that since I convinced myself that I achieved that goal within this month, I worked as hard as I could to make that, goal happen over that time frame. Like, you know, if even if I'm disappointed in myself, I know I still worked as hard as I could to make it work. And it also fuels me to go into that next month and try to do it again, try to make $10,000 again, or whatever it is. And I know a lot of people say, like, if you set your goals to achieve something and you don't achieve it, then you didn't work hard enough, or you're not a person that deserves that. That's true, but it doesn't account for like the lessons that you haven't learned yet, or the required experience that you lacked during that time frame that you set that goal. Like, there's going to be people that are like just starting out their gym journey and they're like, oh, I want to hit a 225 bench. You're not going to hit it, but that doesn't mean that, you didn't work hard enough to hit that 225 bench in a month that you give yourself. It just means you don't have enough time in the gym and enough muscle to do it yet. So just keep on pushing for that. And, yes, I wasn't deserving or knowledgeable enough to have a $10,000 month back when I set that goal, but trying my hardest put me through failures and lessons that brought me closer to that goal. Another thing that I struggled with and still do, I already talked about this, but it's waking up on time. I'll set goals to maintain habits of waking up early and changing myself to wake up early, but I continuously fall short of that and sleep in. I already said this, I don't know why I'm repeating it, but like, yes, it's a failure, yes, it sucks, but it's the best thing for me, right? Because failure is the best thing for you. It's the best thing for me because it's putting me in a position where I need to figure out the best systems to wake up on time every day. And that's what I did recently. I found the systems that I need to wake up on time. I'm refining them, and I'm going to improve upon my habits all the time now, simply so that I can get closer to the goal of waking up on time, or whatever it is. And that's the real reason that failure is the best thing for you. It's simply because you can't improve without failure. You've got to keep refining those kind of just systems, habits, all that. Just anything you're working on. If you're not failing, you're not going to improve. And you can't learn the lessons that you need to know without failure. And those lessons, without those lessons, you're not going to become the individual you need to be. Like a lot of the time I say, I'm not the version of myself that I want to be yet. And that's true. But if I'm not working, I'm not going to become that version of Liam. That millionaire version, confident version of Liam, stuff like that. Just keep trying as hard as you can, keep failing, but embrace the failure and be grateful for it. Do some sort of like gratitude journaling. Like, I have my journal right here. It's got like 80 days worth of journaling so far, something like that. And then just write your gratitude for your failures, any hardships you encounter. Just journal, man. It really helps. I'm not gonna lie. Write down how you're gonna get past your hardships and your failures, and write down, this is important, write down the systems and the habits that you'll implement to do so. Because without that, you're just gonna be sitting in the same place. Like, a lot of people know what they need to do, but the fact that they don't like physically actualize it makes their brain just ignore it, because it'll just be subconscious. If you make it something real and obvious in front of you, you can't deny it and you got to go do it. So for me, I'd write down in my journal, I need to leave my room as soon as I wake up. And now I couldn't deny that, and I've started doing it simply because of that. So, just like I said, failing is the best thing for you. Keep failing, keep going while you do it. Thank you, and God bless.